Welcome, culture warriors. Doesn't matter if you came from the left, the right, the center, or you burned your party card years ago. If you're done being told what you're allowed to notice, you're in the right place. This is Awaken the Underground, official podcast of Red Pill Alternative. We're not here to play their game. We're reverse engineering the entire woke psyop, the bullying, the moral blackmail, the forced silence, and we're doing it out loud, together. No purity tests, no safe spaces, just people who still have a spine. You're not a spectator, you're part of the pushback. So, lock in. Awaken the underground. The psyop ends with us.
Hello and welcome to Awaken the Underground podcast. I am Sera and this is Rob and we are Mind Pendulum.
Hello everybody. We have an amazing show today. We're going to have two guests. Now let Sera get into the news about all the things that we have coming up. So this is going to be really cool.
Yes, we have two guests today. The first up is a woman, a rebel, a person standing up to the system as a congressional candidate. And then after that, we'll have another guest who is another woman who's been with the show since the first day, and she's starting her own publishing company.
So if you're new to our show, we are Awaken the Underground. We are on the Real Alternative Network, and we're really excited to be able to bring you some alternative culture and art and music and the whole thing. I think we have some guests today that will really blow your mind.
Yes, our first guest today. I'm really excited about this. I just met her a little bit ago. Her name is Lauren Pena, and she is I'm going to read a little bit here so I get everything correct. She's the Republican nominee for Texas's 37th Congressional District out of Austin, and she will be on the ticket this November. And she has survived 10 years of human trafficking. She rebuilt her life, is raising her children, and in 2023, she founded a nonprofit that gives people free legal help and teaches them their rights.
That's amazing.
I know. And she testified about the fraud and waste inside the nonprofits and NGOs that are supposed to be helping people just like her. And she's a rebel in her own right, someone who has been working from the ground up to show how the system has failed and is fighting to rebuild it. And I think that's very awesome, and I'm excited to hear from her. So without further ado, Lauren Pena.
Hello, Lauren.
To Awaken the Underground.
Hey, y'all. Thanks for having me on.
Yes, thank you. How are you doing this fine day?
Today has been exciting, and I'm happy to be here, and I'm looking forward to connecting with your audience.
Awesome. So first thing that we want to ask you then is, what is your story? What got you involved in politics, and what was it that pushed you to be like, you know what, I can't just sit back anymore?
Yeah.
For sure. So as you mentioned, I'm a survivor of human trafficking. I was able to get out in 2020 by moving into public housing in East Austin. At that time, I had about a 9th grade education level. I immediately started getting into college courses, and you can see all the work that I've done behind me. But I started realizing quickly that my civil rights were being violated, my community civil rights are being violated, and that your taxpayer dollars are paying for it. So I started reaching out to all my elected officials on a local, state, and federal level to try to get assistance, and they didn't care. So I started testifying at the Texas Capitol in the last legislative session. I was hoping, if I produced evidence and I told my story, that someone would intervene, and nothing happened. So I decided to throw my name into the hat. It was a contested primary, got pretty messy, but I won.
That's awesome. And that sounds like what a lot of people do is like when they stand up, they're like, you know what, I've seen how this hasn't been working and I need to do something. And I think that's awesome that you took the step to then run for Congress with it. And I think that's awesome.
Yeah, that's one heck of a comeback story.
Yes, it is to go from, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's, So when I heard a little bit of your story, and I'm really excited, I don't know if you can tell our audience a little bit more about some of the details about how you ended up being caught up in this horrible system and how you got out of it. I think that's one amazing thing, and a lot of people don't understand that that's happening in our country. They've kind of got a blind eye to this stuff, right?
For sure. And for me, it started off because I got pregnant when I was 16. I ended up having to move out of my parents' house, and my high school handed me a diploma when I only had a ninth grade education level, sent me on my way. So I actually ended up in the streets of Austin, Texas, got involved with gangs, and things slowly progressed from there. I ended up being put in places where I couldn't leave. And it was definitely traumatic. And I'm really happy that I was able to overcome that. But having that experience and being able to have a voice in government, I think is really important, because I'm coming from a place where I understand street crime. I understand, trafficking. And I'm a community police commissioner here in Austin. So I have a relationship with the police, but I also see the other side of it. And so I think that my voice is definitely a voice that needs to be heard in Congress.
Yeah, that's saying more than a mouthful, is that you came from this experience and now you're able to really inject this knowledge into law enforcement. Have they been able to use your experience and your expertise to help at this point in time already to kind of combat some of this stuff that's going on?
So in my situation, the person in that establishment, he's already been, incarcerated for human trafficking. But I am spreading awareness as to how my situation came about. I do have some planned legislation called the Safe Nights Act to try to prevent more people like me going through what I went through. But also while I was in there, I did see minors. I did see people from foreign countries. Wow. And when they're in these places, nobody really knows that they exist for law enforcement to go and to help. But I tell you, it's really spilling over to our family court system as well. When my story came out, I actually have a constituent who has come to me and spoke up that she lost custody of her son to the trafficker, which was the non-biological father, through family court here in Travis County. So I've got a couple other, situations that constituents have told me, but human trafficking, there's so many different aspects to it. There's so many different kinds. So it is a big, complex problem.
What do you feel is now, for our audience that may not even be aware that this is a problem in our country, where should they start researching this, and what kind of things would you bring to their awareness first, so that they can understand, have a better understanding about what is taking place maybe in other cities, in their cities, and around the country?
Yeah, so I have another example coming from another constituent who, when she was 14, she got connected with the wrong family. And basically what that family did was start her having babies. So she had child after child after child, starting at 14 years old. And what they would do was they would take the birth certificates of these children born in the United States, drive the mom over to Mexico without her children, and then pick up children in Mexico and cross them back into the United States border using those birth certificates. And so I think that we definitely need to figure out a way to prevent that from happening, because that was, again, another aspect of human trafficking that I didn't know was happening. And, for this woman, she told me she didn't know what happened to the children after they got over here on the United States side. So, we really don't know. So there needs to be a better way for children crossing the border to ensure that they're the children that they say they are.
So when these children come across the border, they're just lost in the system, and nobody can really figure out where they're at. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm saying that, but also, we're talking about criminals, so I don't know. Obviously, they would intentionally want that to be lost in the system. But yeah, the woman, she's not sure where those children went.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and I hear things like that, and I'm not, I'm not as close to this topic. We're kind of sheltered in our area from these kind of things. So when I hear this, it's hard for me to fathom that these things take place. And so, and we know they are, but I think it's amazing for you to come out and tell your story and do the things that you're doing to make changes in this country, because that's our whole focus here, is trying to build awareness about things in this country that people have been silenced, like yourself, from saying and exposing, and that is what Awaken the Underground is about.
Is that something you noticed then too? Is that like the pushback of when you started speaking out against it?
You know, interestingly enough, and it might have been because I was in a contested primary, but I had a lot of people in the Republican Party pushing back towards me on the things that I was saying. And I don't know that I think because now that I've gotten in politics, I can see that it is really messy, and there are people that, you know, aren't telling the truth necessarily, but I'm in here to, like you said, spread awareness, get this out, and let's focus on legislation to prevent and stop these issues. And so there shouldn't be any pushback from either party for me to get this information out there.
And that leads into the question, because I was wondering that too, and when you get elected and you go to there and you when you get elected and you are faced against like any pushback, like how do you respond to that?
Well, you know, it's kind of funny because, you know, even 3 years ago, if you would have tried to have a conversation with me, I didn't have the level of knowledge to be able to have a civil conversation. I definitely, like I said, I grew up in a gang environment, and so I was a little rough around the edges. But with that being said, like if I can fight the cartel for my life and survive, I am not afraid to get up there and fight the cartel bureaucrats in DC.
That's
and
awesome.
So I'm very strong-willed, and I'm not easily influenced. And, you know, coming from a place where I came from, I can see a lot of the shenanigans happening that normal people don't realize. I guess like the pattern recognition skills that I have, I couldn't be more prepared to be in Congress.
That's awesome. I want to give you a shout out real quick, because Patrick is in the chats and he wanted me to let you know he's watching. He wanted to give a shout out. That's Patrick.
Thank you, Patrick.
Yes. We were going to get him in on a call and we didn't get that set up yet, but he just wanted to make sure you knew he was watching and he's supporting you.
Thank you.
So the people, your supporters, what are the things that they are telling you that you're doing right, and what is it that they like about your message and your expertise?
Yeah, I think it's the authenticity that I'm bringing, because I'm getting on there on social media and I'm just talking about my day-to-day life. I'm exposing the things that are happening in the district. And I'm not sitting here going and paying a bunch of money to get the polls and see what the voters are, I guess, most interested in. I'm sitting here and I'm telling the voters, this is what I'm fighting for. This is what I care about. And this is what I'm going to do. So it's the authenticity. And, you know, I actually really engage in social media. And so I've been fortunate enough to raise over 40,000 followers on social media since I began this campaign organically. And I think that's incredible. And it shows that my authenticity is resonating.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's the theme that I keep hearing, is people are tired of and when I say politics, they're not tired of politics. They're tired of phony politics, right? And it's not, I don't feel like politics is the problem. It's the phony politics. It's people that are disingenuous about doing the jobs they want to do in there currently and trying to get in, right? Where people like yourself are trying to actually get things done. You see what's happening in the community. You've been through it. And now you're in there and you're probably seeing just how corrupt it is.
For sure. And like I said, I mean, most people, when they're running for office, they pay money to send out polls and find out, you know, what 3 things the people in America, the people in Texas and their district care about. And then they go and they run on those things. And I'm just taking the complete opposite approach. Like, I'm telling you, this is who I am. This is what I'm going to fight for.
And that's awesome. And that's what I think people are hungry for. And I know that's what brings a lot of people to like, our organization and with working with they want the authenticity, and you're bringing that. And I think that's awesome because that is what people are wanting. I think across the board, people are wanting that.
Yeah, they're starving for it. I mean, they're starving for the real conversations. They're starving for the genuine conversation, and they're tired of being suppressed and being told to basically be quiet and not talk about things that are obviously having an effect on them. And I feel like a lot of people just feel like they're being overlooked. And that sounds like what you're trying to really bring is awareness to these people that are absolutely being overworked and overlooked. And I feel like that's what this whole movement is trying to do. We're trying to get people together and start speaking up for each other as a group, so that these things that they're trying to ignore can no longer be ignored. And I think you're amazing for doing exactly what you're doing.
Thank you.
So what is it that you, with running with this and stuff, I know you kind of touched on it earlier, like what is it that has changed your view of how politics are run? Like since you've become in it, like what have you seen?
I'm going to tell you, district specifically, which I'm assuming it's going to be like this in every major city across the country, but I was told when I first got involved that there's a gentleman's agreement that Democrats get the cities and Republicans get the rural areas. So when I had first, gotten involved with the Republican Party and I said that I was interested in running, I literally had someone in the Texas Capitol tell me, well, did you check with the county chair and make sure that's okay? Because, the Democrats are supposed to have these seats. And you know what? I call BS on that because it is not up to the political parties and our elected officials to decide who gets to represent who. I believe in our republic, and I believe that my district has the opportunity to elect someone that's really going to fight for them, regardless of party.
Well, it feels like what you're saying is that both parties are working together, hand in hand, behind the scenes. Is that what you're saying?
It could be, but I can tell you, I'm not going to be silenced. And so if they are working together, it would do them both very well to just let me get in and fix the issues and then get out. Because I believe in term limits. I'm not trying to sit there forever. But at the same time, I handle adversity a lot different than most people. I get stronger with it. When people tell me no, I fight harder. And adversity really drives me. I mean, I thrive in chaos, unfortunately.
That's awesome.
And that's what we're kind of all about, the chaos here. And I'm of the same mind. I kind of have that. If we don't have chaos, then something feels wrong. So I don't know. Not that I want it. I kind of want things to calm down. I want this country to get better. I want it to be a place where we can all believe in our system and we can see improvements and we can help the citizens of this country. And that would be an amazing place. But the chaos is kind of like where we're at right now. And we need people like you. We need culture warriors. We need people to come in and really lead the charge. So I think, everything that you're saying will resonate with everyone in our audience.
One thing I was wondering about, I had saw a mention of something, and you were talking about your constituents and that, and also in regard to authenticity. Have you noticed like a change since I know you spoke out about how bad the life was and living in the projects and like the maintenance of the buildings and that people on the top floors, the elevator was broken and they couldn't get there. And I just was wondering if you could, just say a little bit about that and like how your authenticity of helping with that, how you saw a change.
Yeah, so part of the way I started, I guess, getting a social media following is I was testifying in the Texas Capitol about things that were going on in my district. And the story you're talking about, I mean, I literally have elderly, disabled, and veterans in wheelchairs trapped on the upper floors for weeks at a time. And it's so bad that the Austin Fire Department would have to come and carry these people up and down the stairs to attend medical appointments. And so the thing that should make people the most angry about this is that's a violation of federal law. Like that's clear ADA violations. But this place is funded completely by your taxpayer dollars, and it's not even paying taxes. So like the location of my property is walking distance to the Texas Capitol. So you you know that that's prime real estate. That property is worth a lot of money. They're not putting any taxpayer funds back into the system. And another example, they turned it into one of those places where they're going to have small businesses underneath. Well, me and a lot of the residents had reached out to try to get to lease one of those office spaces to start our small business. And they were ignoring us, the residents, not letting us get one of those spaces. And now they're putting in a place that's like a Madami grocery store and sells alcohol. And I'm sorry, but alcohol should not be sold on public housing property where there is a significant population that does struggle with mental health and addiction issues. And it's like, I don't understand how the city is not connecting these issues together. And I don't understand when there's someone like me that knows the federal statutes, that goes there, that says, this is exactly the law you're violating. This is what you need to do. And I'm coming as a friendly person for the most part at the start of it. Like, I'm friendly, like, hey, you need to fix this. And they just don't care. And I'm noticing that pattern across all of the social service programs. They're violating our civil rights. And when you advocate for what is going wrong, they don't care. So my proposed solution to that is that from now on, we need to require any person that's working in these agencies, and this goes for CPS, any of the social service programs, even our police officers, which I'm sure they do get that training, they need to have training on what the Constitution is and listen to the people that are there.
Do you think that that was some of that, like, they want the system to keep failing? I know that's kind of like speculative, but it's just like, do you, like, I guess because it's been going on for so long and like we're seeing these things actually, I mean, you saw this actually happen to someone in real life. It happened to you. And it's like, why is the system still failing?
Well, if you would ask me what one of the biggest threats to our republic right now is, I would definitely say it is socialism, the rise of communists, and the DSA. And so you have to think about how that type of system is going to be implemented in the United States. And what would they do? They would collapse the middle class, put everybody down in poverty, and that's how they'd make us equal. And so that's exactly what's happening right now. The middle class is being crushed by taxes to pay for these failed programs. And I understand, Democrats, they're typically more emotional than we are as conservatives, right? And so their emotional thought when they started these programs was genuinely to help people. I don't think that they're inherently evil, but I do think that when it comes to people like me that have the actual lived experience, that can tell them what's going on, it doesn't fit their agenda, so they don't care to hear it. And that's the problem. But that's exactly what they're trying to do to the American system. They're going to collapse the middle class, and they want everybody living in neighborhoods like mine.
What you just said is so close to what we've been, kind of got us going with a lot of the things that we're doing now. We didn't really set out to go, hey, let's go do a podcast and all this. We met some people that were really passionate about this message that you just brought. And I'm a traditional Democrat. I remember being a Democrat, and I always felt like, hey, we need to help people. We need to make sure the system is working for people. And that's why, because I looked at it from that lens that you just explained. You're like, these horrible things are happening. Yes, we have to have, we need to make money. We need capitalism to generate money and wealth in this country. But we also can't leave these people behind. But now I see a lot of traditional Democrats kind of, they believe that they're supporting that ideal, and I don't see that that's the ideal that's actually happening anymore. And I always say what's happened is the Democratic Party has moved in a way that it no longer represents anything that I remember about it, and it doesn't really, to me, feel like it has those kind of real initiatives in mind of helping people anymore. It seems totally misguided. What are you seeing?
Yeah, so I have neighbors that are sixth generation born into public housing. And so I do hear a lot of times, especially coming from the conservative side, oh, well, these people are lazy. They could just get a job. They could just do that. And I would really encourage people to take on the other perspective that after 6 generations of something, those particular people no longer have the ability to think about another type of lifestyle. And so I do have a proposed solution to this issue as well. I think that whenever we interpreted the Constitution, the welfare clause, I believe that when the Constitution was written, the general welfare was meant to say for the entire country as a whole. I do not believe that the United States Constitution meant the welfare for the individual because it's a federalism issue. So when we think about public housing, food stamps, Medicaid, this Medicaid for all that they're trying to push, those should really be in the hands of the states and not in the federal government. So like I said, I really think that general welfare clause was misinterpreted. And what we need to do is we need to move those programs back down to the state and local level. And as far as public housing, I think the best thing that we can do is we can say, okay, everybody that's on this waiting list now, which by the way, the waiting list is 10 years. That's how long I waited to get on it at least.
Wow.
So there might be places that are longer. Mind you, I was being trafficked that whole time. Everybody that's on the waiting list, okay, they're going to get it, but nobody else can get on. And so the idea of that would be within 2 or 3 generations, the entire program would naturally sunset. But we have, young folks in my community that grow up idolizing being a drug dealer, idolizing living in public housing because it is a lifestyle. And so when Democrats were saying, oh, we don't want to hold people back, that's exactly what happened. You're holding more people back because I can tell you if somebody doesn't have everything handed to them, they're going to find a way to make it. People are going to find a way to get their needs. They'll fight to get a job. They'll fight. But right now, nobody has to fight if they're 6th generation born into public housing.
That's great. Okay. Yeah, I know it's the welfare system. That's interesting that you say that because that to put it back to the states and like the federal government is kind of overreaching on it, and that because of that, do you think that makes it even a slower process then, since they don't have the tools at the local and state levels to be monitoring it or controlling it because the federal government is so involved in it?
Well, ultimately, I think the biggest issue is that's where, a lot of the tax money that's coming from the American middle class is going into these programs through the federal government. And Congress is not providing proper oversight on these programs. But again, I would argue Congress should have never had those programs in the first place. This is a state issue. This is a local issue. This is not a federal issue.
Okay. And that goes clear back to the early 1900s, Great Depression time when it became taken over by the federal the federal government took over, and so it was a form of socialism. And I get what you're saying then, that it's like they're trying to invade even more into the Democratic Party with the socialist things that we're seeing. And I know you've spoken about that before, like the Red Green Alliance and so what is it that you are doing to show people that there is a way to receive benefits or to help, but then also to do it in a way to lift them up instead of keeping them down?
Honestly, that's kind of a hard question because in all reality, I mean, look at me. It's literally taking me running for United States Congress to try to escape poverty. And no, I'm not in this, to get rich, but I am asking the American people to hire me because, for my family right now, my family size, for me to get completely off of benefits, I would need to make over $140,000 a year.
Oh, geez.
And that's just ridiculous. And there's no drop off point. There's no working down the ladder as far as the amount of welfare you get with the income you get to try to even it out. It's once you have any sort of opportunity, you immediately get dropped from the programs. And what happens? So like someone like me, right? I'm a survivor of human trafficking. I've gotten a lot of education, a lot of experience, but I've never actually worked a 9 to 5 job before because DEI is not real. Because if it was, I would have been prioritized for the many city and state jobs that I applied for. But what happens if, families like me, we decide to open a business and get out of poverty, but we don't know if our business is going to succeed. So you're literally taking a chance with your family's livelihood, 100% gamble. There's no padded, room to say, okay, is this business going to work out? Is this job going to work out? And so you're really risking too much. So that's why, people don't even try. But I had enough. I know my family can't be raised in this environment. I know it's not safe, and I want more for my kids. So I'm throwing it all on the line, and I'm trying to be your next congresswoman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I've seen that, and I think we've experienced that too. It's like you get to a point where you're relying on the the system to help keep your family sustained, and then you start to reach out and go out and try and better yourself, and then you get almost like you get punished.
Right. And the biggest part of it is nobody's going to be able to do better with their life and with their situation if they're living in a constant survival mode. Yeah. And that's exactly what these programs are. There might be, I guess, physical stability, but there's no emotional stability because, every time you walk outside in your neighborhood, something else is happening. There's another shooting. There's more homeless people knocking on your door. There's more people that are, my kids have literally seen the dead body. It's ridiculous. Mm. And so if you're in constant survival mode, you're never going to be able to improve. And that is what's wrong with these programs.
Mm-hmm.
And if these programs continue to go in the direction that they are already headed, I don't see, and I think that's your message too, is that we don't see it getting better. It's going to get worse, right? The socialist, and I'll call it communist style program promises that everybody's going to thrive as soon as capitalism's gone and we're all somehow elevated to this status. Is that what they're promising? I'm really kind of confused myself on what they think is going to happen now when we're seeing so much already.
That's exactly what they want. They want everybody living in neighborhoods like mine, on programs like mine, and that's what's going to make everybody equal. But they don't understand, and maybe they do, that the actual quality of life is not good. Yes, I have a house over my head and I have food in my stomach, but that doesn't mean that my quality of life is good. And I would hate to see, and I don't want to see, more families going through the things that the families in my community are going through. Because I'm going to be honest with you, most people cannot survive in this environment. You really have to, I come from the gutter. That's why I'm okay. But, your average suburban housewife is not going to survive in this environment.
No. And I thought of something with that, with people. So if someone, because we want to be mindful of your time here too, but for someone who is in your old situation, then how you were saying, like what you've come out of and stuff, what would you say to them then to because of where you're at now and showing that, what would you say to encourage them to kind of, get out of the system or try or strive to something?
Look, I am telling the world right now that the American dream is still alive and it is here. All it takes is dedication and hard work. And in my case, it took, working 4 years without getting paid while living in poverty to get to where I'm at now. And so that hard work and dedication, no matter the immediate financial return, it is still there. The American dream is alive and you can do it. Just keep fighting, stay diligent, fight, and you can do it.
That's
awesome. I really like that message that the American dream is still alive. And that's the message that we're trying to send to people too, is that there's a lot of people in the underground that are watching and feeling just like you're feeling, just like the people in your community are feeling. We're seeing these things happen all over, and we feel like our voices aren't getting out there. And I feel like it's starting to change. We're starting to see people like yourself, more people are starting to get together, and we're starting to speak up. I think that's the key. The more we get other people to speak up, and they start speaking up, it's going to avalanche. It's going to snowball, and then things can change, and we can see this American dream come back. Lauren, I think it's great, and thank you for coming on our show.
I really appreciate it.
Yes. Do you have any last words before we shout out to say goodbye? And then also, where can we find you? Where can people find you?
Yeah. So again, my name is Lauren B. Pena. I'm the 2026 nominee for United States Congress in Austin, Texas. I am very responsive on social media. I would love to hear from you. I'd love to connect with you. Just look for Lauren B. Pena for Congress, or you can go to my website, laurenforcongress.com, and message me there. But like I said, I want to hear from you. I want to fight for you. And I really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. We appreciated having you on and hearing your story and your points. I loved it. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and to everybody in our audience, please support Lauren. Please spread her videos. Please subscribe to her social medias. Please get the word out about our fellow culture warriors. As you see what's happening, and we need to bond together. We need to come together, and as one voice, we can raise up, and we can restore the American dream in this country. People like Lauren can do this. We can do it, and we should.
Yes.
Thank you very
Lauren.
much. Yeah, you're amazing.
Yes.
I stare up at the moon, basking in all of its light, as I prepare myself for quite an eventful night. It's been far too long since I've done a midnight run. Anticipation builds as I'm itching to have some fun. The animals have quieted, sensing a shift in the air, as a gentle wind grazes my skin and blows through my hair. The time is approaching. I feel a shift in my bones, my physiology changing along with my pheromones. Spine snapping back as the transformation is upon me. Bones cracking and breaking, my skin lunging to be free. Claws extend through my fingertips, dripping with my blood, as I slam forward on all fours onto the ground with the blood. Growling as my skull lengthens into a set of monstrous claws. My body sprouted with fur, my hands finally turned to paws. I look about me now, seeing the forest with a predator's eyes, content now that I've shredded and discarded my bipedal disguise. As I'm limbering up my form, a pleasant smell floats past my snout, and my ears perk up with the sounds of hikers loafing about. My stomach lets out a rumble, and I can't stop myself from snarling, grinning as I lick my chops and think to myself how fortunate I'm starving.
Okay.
Welcome back to Awaken the Underground.
That was a poem from our next guest. Her name is Rebecca Heinish, and we are thanking you for being here with us. She has been with us since the start, and we appreciate her greatly. And so, welcome, Rebecca.
Welcome to Awaken the Underground.
Yes, Rebecca, welcome.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you for joining us this evening.
And we did intro with the video, with your art and your poem, and I really love that poem. It hits home. It's just that was such an amazing piece. We thank you for donating that.
Thank you. Well, it was one of my more simple pieces, but I thought that since I had a piece that I had drawn for it, that it might be a neat little intro into who I am and the kind of lulling storytelling that I tell.
Yes.
So.
Yeah,
I see that, and it was awesome. I love the werewolf theme of it. I thought it was very cool, and then with the drawing as well, it turned out awesome. We look forward to doing more of those with you.
Oh, definitely, and I've already recorded a few of my longer ones that are actually like 5 minutes long.
Oh, that's awesome. You're like, hey, I want to do this one now. Yeah. So, for those of our watchers, our viewers that do not know who you are, Rebecca Heinish, she runs Grim Rune Publishing. It was something that she started from the ground up on her own. She is an artist in her own right, as you can see from that video that we just showed. She drew that drawing of the werewolf hand, and then we animated it. And she has been one of our longest, most faithful followers, and this was overdue. And so, Rebecca, go ahead and let us know your backstory as to why you started Grim Rune.
And I do have to say, it is amazing to have you on, because you have been here with us the longest. And
yes,
I was waiting for this day that you came on the show, so I'm super excited.
Everyone finally talked me into it, and you got me here on screen.
Yes.
I mean, but yeah, longest running fan here. Hello. And I created my Pendulum, so I had
yes,
to
you
be
did.
here.
She really runs the show, so
That's what AI said, is that she's the creator of Mind Pendulum. So we're like, okay, yeah, she is.
Yeah, I mean, obviously. Ever since I've been little, my first passion was writing stories. I did that even before creating art, and my head is constantly spinning with stories, characters, little incidences. Heaven forbid I watch a scary movie, I make it worse in my mind trying to go to sleep at night. My mind is always spinning, so I'm always writing. There's always something in my head as far as something that I need to jot down and write. And for the longest time, I would watch the industry and people publishing, and for the most part, there just didn't seem to be a very easy access for someone who wants to draw or write more gothic or darker material. You had to be pitted up against Edgar Allan Poe or Stephen King. Not too many that weren't like romanticises, or if you're not doing smut, you're not going to get into the industry. Well, ever since around 2015-ish, we all saw the world turn into heavily censored, heavily one-sided stories and perspectives being shown, and any kind of creator was completely and utterly shut out of that system. So I'm here coming up out of high school in 2014, where I graduated early and everything, and I was here looking around, and I was like, well, I'm not even going to bother. I wasn't ever even going to do this, because I was like, there isn't any reason why I should, and I'm not ever about the fame or anything. I'm all about the creation. And I'm like, I didn't see a viable reason or way for me in order to do what I would have always dreamt to do, and that's make books. That being said, I'm here doing my thing, just pedaling along. Come like 9-10 months ago, I'm here tooling around on Facebook, and I'm in the middle of this poetry group, and I got into the modding team, and I was an admin, and I'm here fighting the admin team on letting conservative people be able to share their writing. And it didn't even have to be political. They just knew that person was conservative, and they wouldn't allow their poems or their writing or even their photography through. And after about 5-6 months of me covertly approving and constantly fighting with the admin team, I was like, fuck it, and I left. And I started my own little group for a time called the Crimson Quill. That's been since disbanded for other reasons. I didn't feel like continuing that one. But anyway, through that journey, I met Wildfire Publishing. And that is who I am currently a in-house staff writer and artist for. And during there, I was under the head lady there, and I found out about Lulu and piqued my interest, because I am very much a hands-on person. If I like something or I'm interested in a topic, I do everything I can to learn how to do it myself. I'm very much I want to do it myself in my way. I have things, everything looks and sounds a certain way in my head. Everything from everything I write to my draw, how I present, settings, everything is very specific. So after there was a bit of disagreements and everything on how certain things should look, I was like, well, I'll learn how to do it myself. And I did. I took about 2 days, got around figuring out how to do Lulu, and published my own book, and published it exactly how I wanted it. And that was for the first time I was like, you know what, I can do this myself. I don't need anybody else, because anybody else isn't going to actually listen to any kind of actual creative direction, and no one's going to censor what I'm trying to speak about. Because whilst I do mostly do stories, I was actually very much intertwining my kind of Grimm's tales with my observations of the world. And there's quite a few times where I was very blatantly, to me, in my face or in their faces, telling them exactly how I felt about them. The woke people and everything. And they were just like, oh, that's so nice, or that's really hard hitting. I'm like, yeah, it just goes right over your head.
And so where did the name come from? Grim Rune.
Oh, well, I mean, typical, love the word grim, love Grimm's fairy tales. They're my favorite thing that I ever grew up with reading. Ruin, I pronounce it rune, but I spell it ruin, like ancient bones of civilizations. And I was like, well, you hear grimoire, and that's a typical name for an old book. And I was like, well, I don't want to be that. So I just combined grim and ruin, and now I'm Grim Rune.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And again, even after I created that, I wasn't actually going to be offering my services really to anybody. I was publishing a couple people who kind of got the short end of a stick after a particular deal went under. I was doing that for free, and I was like, well, I'll do that. And then as I was meeting you guys, I was like, well, I mean, you guys are looking for publishers and everything's like, I can do that. Not only can I do that, I can do it fast. Yes. And I can make it pretty looking. So.
Yes. I can attest to that, because you did the, let me grab it real quick.
Yeah.
Yes, because you actually, I published my book through you. The Obsolete is the title of it, and it's amazing. She did the drawings that are inside it. There's a few drawings, and they're absolutely exactly what I wanted, and the layout is absolutely beautiful. I love it so much, and I can't thank you enough. Like, I can show just a little. I won't show too much because I don't want to give it away, so you can read it. But I
don't think anybody's gonna read that whole book
in 2 seconds. No, I wasn't meaning like right now. I was meaning keep it secret. Keep the picture secret. No,
super secret
picture. But no, I absolutely love this. Like when I saw it yesterday, because they arrived yesterday, and I was so excited about it. And you did a beautiful job. I absolutely love it.
Thank you. I'm so happy you liked it. I loved the style we discussed.
Yes.
It absolutely, like the tone of the entire piece is very cold and methodical, very almost detached, because it feels like a dystopian that's happening right now. Yes. Like it's like it's not future dystopian. This is happening now. Like I can picture this happening tomorrow, and the fact that how you write it, how it's written, how it's even laid out on the page is almost computer AI, inhuman detached. And then to have some random sketches to kind of humanize the piece and act like Jenica, who is one of the main characters, is just jotting down things that she's trying to remember as memories being stolen. And there's these common symbols, which I love symbol.
Yes, me too.
Symbols and lore. And you had 4 or 3 specifically that I honed in on, and I wanted to kind of spread throughout, like sprinkle throughout a little bit. And to have that kind of just etched in there in the midst of this kind of rather cold, detached, calculated, even how it looks writing, I think kind of breaks it up and even makes it even more disjointed and unsettling. Yes. Because it's like little scraps of humanity stuffed between the pages.
And that's what I thought was amazing, that you got that from it. I appreciated it so much that you took the time. you were one of my beta readers, and I appreciated so much that you got that from it, that's what I was going for. I'm like, because sometimes when you're writing or working on things, you're like, I hope it falls. I hope they get it and it falls right. And so I appreciated that you got it. I mean, the whole book is called Obsolete, and it's like, and isolate.exe is the series because it is like focusing on how we are detached and our humanity in that, but then bringing in spurts of humanity so that we can see that. And it's the world that we're seeing now. And so,
and in a way it gives little sprouts of hope, because it's like, oh, it's not completely gone yet, but it's also not sprinkled all the way throughout to where it's like heavy. It's little sprouts of humanity throughout, and that's kind of what's going on now. We're clinging to any kind of sense of, does anyone have any common sense, any decency, moral, any scrap of humanity left?
And that's kind of that's where it came from when I started writing it, was like looking at especially like after COVID, and then seeing how isolated we were and how separate we were, and like, where is the humanity now? Like people turning each other in, people doing all sorts of things during that time, and like seeing each other as like an enemy almost, or like could they be giving me an illness, and like people were treating each other like that. And so I see it still happening now. It's like not as an illness, but like we are like we do have this separation for some reason that is happening, and like people are putting up walls.
Yeah. And it's highly unfortunate, because it feels like everything, I mean, the saying is, it was better when I was younger. Well, this time I actually feel like it's actually very apropos, because this was before, I mean, we were having this discussion the other day. This was before these powers that be have gotten certain technologies developed further enough to where they can like really needle under the skin of society and breed their ideologies and their constraints in order to like terraform their way into how they want to be and prop themselves up as our overlords, essentially. But.
Did you have something? With that, with your publishing company and stuff, and you said that you've gotten a few things and stuff. Do you like seek people out, or is it like a certain type of story that you're wanting to publish?
No, actually, I just sit here in my little corner, and everyone's like meanders their way to me. And no, I'm for splatterpunks. I'm for grimdarks. I'm for, if you're talking about abuse or survival, nonfiction, fiction. I literally, all I want is, if you have a vision and you have a dream and you want a work of art, I will turn your art into a living, breathing work of art. I will do the art, I will make it presentable, and I will make it something that you can be proud of, and will frame whatever story you're wanting to tell. I will frame it in such a way to where it will catch the eye and will make you proud, essentially. I'm all for making people be able to look at their work and be in awe of themselves, because there's so much talent in this world, and not enough people actually truly take the time to look at any of this talent. It's always like, oh, that's nice. Oh, that was really nice. I really like that. Or that was a really good read. I'm like, yeah, but give us some more. Did you see what I was saying? Like what we were talking about with your book. Do you see the underlying feeling, the emotion, the thorough thread that's being dragged through the entire piece? Do you see me?
Yes.
Whichever the author is.
Yeah.
And that's essentially what I aim to do. I don't care what you want to write or what you want to publish. I will do it all. My job is to make sure it is done to such a degree that you can stand by and be like, yeah, this is me. And I just essentially frame your work.
Yes. And I said it earlier, I'm like, I can totally get that from what you did with my book. And it's like, I used to self-publish and, putting it together and stuff, but what you took from it and did was absolutely beautiful, and I love it so much, and I am very proud of it and what you added to it. And I think that extra step that you're saying that you do with it is very much needed, especially in like the art world, in the writing world. And so like your art, like we have your poem book, and I absolutely love looking at the artistry with it that you've written. You've written poems, then you have different artwork that goes with different things. So where does that come from, your art that you draw? Like, does the story come first? Does the art come first? How does that happen?
I actually do really like this question. It all comes to me at once.
Okay.
These stories swirl in my head, and usually before I write something, it takes me about 5 or so minutes to just jot it down, because the entire story, I'm not figuring it out as I go along. Mm-hmm. There's been a whole scene, sight, smells, atmosphere that has happened in my head, how a creature looks or how an atmosphere or setting looks. All of it has already been formulated in my head. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, depending on what I feel like, I'm like, do I feel like doing the words right now, or do I feel like pulling the character out? Sometimes the art piece comes before the actual writing. Mm-hmm. But most of the time it's like, oh, I get to see who it is I'm telling their story for before I, go ahead and actually write it out. Other times, like the Infernal trilogy, the one with Rasmosius the Insidious, my little demon discarded face, his whole story I wrote before I even drew him. Okay. But I knew what he looked like. I knew how he sounded. I knew this, like, the putrid, dead, decrepit smell that came off of him, and I knew what his goal was. And funny enough story, that's one of the only stories that actually ends up semi-good. The hero dies, but it's still a good story because at least evil didn't win in that particular one. But yeah, all of it comes as a package deal.
Okay.
Every single one of my things has been at the same time.
And that's interesting to know that. I love hearing how like people create and stuff, and like the processes with it, and because it's like how you said that about the story. It's like I know, like when I come up with stories, that it usually is just like a quick scene, and it's like, how does this play out? And then it's like from there it like creates this other thing, because I know I said before that it's like my first book actually is. The second book actually was the first book I wrote, and then you go back in the back story to find things out. Right. And because I think as creative people, that's what we do a lot, is like you see something and you're like, what is this? And then you want to know the details and the stories behind it. And so I guess, is that something that like you feel when you're like looking at different like pieces to bring into your publishing company too, like, or is it just you just like to help people and you want to boost that creativity that people actually have stewing inside?
Yes, yeah, that's actually exactly what I aim to show people, what they're truly capable of.
Okay.
Like they'll bring something to me and I'm like, this is outstanding. And then this is even how I go to edit. My editing style, I'm known to be able to be a very good blender, meaning that I can recognize someone's writing speech and style and be able to edit, but make sure my edits still flow exactly as if it was already written by the person who I'm editing. My goal is to show you what you already had, and just be able to show you that this is what. Yeah, I guess be able to show you that is what you were capable of, and not just capable of. That's what you already had, and you just get to actually visually see it. Because a lot of people don't get that, and especially nowadays. I thankfully had parents, and especially my father, who was constantly with my stories or with my art, constantly pushing me and saying that, and pushing past my insecurities and giving me actual critique. That's another thing that I will give you actual critique. I do not just
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I do not just blanket approve or say, oh yeah, no, that's just great. No, I think that actually stunts any type of actual personal growth, any type of creative growth, and I feel like there's just no point. So I will give you actual critique, and my job as publisher, as artist, as commissionable artist, as editor is to be able to not have my ego or my way of thinking, my lens, get in the way of me showing you in your work where you would actually want it to be.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you don't mind, but I kind of want to go back to something you said early on, and we kind of you touched upon, you got into this, and a lot of people started canceling certain views. They started suppressing a lot of things, and then you went on to describe, you're like, hey, I want to help people who come with all sorts of perspectives. So it feels like to me that you're actually trying to support true diversity and true artistic expression, and the other side, which has become the main street side, that side seems to be wanting to suppress and only put out one message. Is that what your experience was?
Oh, absolutely. It is nothing but an echo chamber of self-aggrandizing, self-important, pretentious people, to put it nicely, who, they do not take politics or any of that type of thing out. Even styles of writing. Let's just take my poetry, for example. First of all, I'm not really a poet. I'm a story author. Mm-hmm. Poetry came about because I was like, I had little snippets of scenes, but I don't want them to make them into full stories. So I make little short stories, and I write what is called narrative poetry and or epic poetry, similar to like some of the epics like Beowulf and things like that, the Odyssey and stuff like that from days of yore. They are very like, you need to follow a specific meter pattern. You have to pick like either you have to pick a style and you have to stay with it. You can't break the code. And it took me a couple months, but I was kind of like, not trying to sound arrogant, but I was kind of teaching people how to communicate again with their writing. And I was like, it does not need to follow these rules that you just keep on following. I'm like, I don't know if you all notice, but all of your stuff is the same formulaic, bland, over and over again, eye roll. I mean, I had the worst viewpoint of poetry. Why? Because we all know what do we think when we think of poetry? It's always either like woe is me about how certain things in my life are this way, or like some random, I had tea this morning with some oatmeal, and you're like, why is this even being noticed? That was actually an actual example. But I'm just like, no one's saying anything, no one's actually using it creatively. And then I, in a group of 250,000 people, was one of the only ones who started using poetry to tell my scary stories. They were dubbed midnight specials because I would release them at midnight for all the people who were lurking, and I would give them a little good scare. And I'm like, you can use, people have lost communication, not just verbally, but also in your writing and the stories you tell and the scenes you create. It's all become so conformative, so constrained, that they have lost the actual creativity on how to actually communicate, to draw people in, and to make them want to know more about your story or about your characters. And again, that's also part of the reason why I'm all about just helping people. I'm not nitpicking talent here either. I'm not like, oh no, you don't really have what it takes. I'm like, no, everyone has what it takes. Something my father told me when I was little, it's like, talent is not inherent. It's a pursued interest.
Yes.
And I can and will help tutor, help push, help show, either in art or in editing or whatever, how every person can reach that pinnacle of like, wow, like I want to read more. I want more of this author. I want more of this artist. And that's what I hope to bring my energy and some of my particular talents on how I can help communicate that with people to help them be able to showcase their work and themselves and help rebuild our art community.
Yeah.
Both in writing and art is just drab. It's dismal.
So, if you don't mind, I had a comment on that. It feels like in what you're describing is all these rules, these rigid rules, and this is kind of like an oppressive environment. I'm like, how is this counterculture? I mean, from what I remember, counterculture, alternative culture was all about exploration and about breaking rules. Yeah. Art's about breaking rules. And it sounds like the culture that's become the mainstream actually is enforcing rules in a totalitarian way. Is that what you're seeing?
Oh, 100%. They have, and they have gaslit themselves into thinking that they are the counterculture without understanding that, no, they are now the ones who are enforcing the fucking etiquette, the rule system, the who gets to publish what, who actually gets published, who gets shown at exhibits, who can even get into bookstores. It is all of it.
That's like Orwell's 1984. It sounds like.
Yeah. Yes. It is. It was so dismal that.
Are they not reading that book?
Yeah. I was like, I literally was like, why bother? But I'm a cynical optimist. I go into things going, okay, this is how every single way that this is going to go wrong. But let's see if it's not, shall we?
Yeah.
But when I got shown Lulu and basically the tools in order to be able to publish and do it myself, I was like, I don't have a problem being a one-man show. I can do that. And if for nothing else, if no one else ever wanted to publish underneath me or no one else ever read any of my books, if nothing else, I can say that
I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Thank you. But I could say that I can do it free of their bullshit. I don't stand for that.
I expect the exact opposite to happen because I know that this is our audience, and I know exactly what's going on in with this movement, and people are hungry for exactly what you're saying: true art, true expression, true freedom, and they're being suppressed. And they're starting to wake up. They're starting to see what's happening. They're starting to see this authoritarian rule in the art community, in literature, and they're starting to break out of that. And people like you are leading the charge. And I think today, what's amazing is the whole show has been guests that are exposing all these things that have been silenced. These things should be the loudest thing in our culture. People should be screaming these things from the mountaintops. And everybody is bringing on all this interesting censorship, but this happening by our peer groups that claim to be free and artistic and expressive, and that's amazing to me.
Yeah, you would think that this will be the last pillar of society standing, and it's like, no, they specifically targeted entertainments and the arts, because without that, people lose hope, people lose their creativity, people lose their spirit. And that, to me personally, creativity is 1,000% my spirit. If I couldn't create, or if I couldn't express myself in writing or art or really anything, that why do anything? Just go to your fucking cubicle, your 9 to 7 or 9 to 5, and just plod along until you die. That's exactly why they targeted those things. It is a universal people gatherer and brings everyone together. So that's why I'm like, that's where we have to fight the hardest. That is our hill to die on. It's like, here and no further. You've taken so much against our will and you're trying to make it seem like, no, this is good for us. No, it's not. It's good for you, and it's not even good for you. It's good for your puppeteers. Like, they're not even these people who are like in control of these publishing houses, or in control of the radio stations, the bookstore, all these, in control of the flow of demand of things. They don't see how they're ruining themselves, and all they are doing is lining the pockets of these, our overlords, whoever they are, whatever side they are on. They don't realize how they have become sucked dry and are just their little puppets, trying to force the rest of us who are fucking trying our damnedest to keep our head above water and not succumb to this oppressive, just this oppressive beast that is, we're just gonna fucking say it, the woke shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for saying woke.
Say it.
Say woke.
Come on.
But no, you're spot on, and this, it is oppressive, and I can just feel like, that you've been through this, and these guests today, all of our guests have been through such, they've seen this. Obviously, Lauren she was through. I mean, her story is just, I can't even, beyond words. I kind of couldn't really articulate for a minute there, because I'm like, wow, that's amazing. And she's an amazing person, and yourself, and has gone through these trials to see this culture, this oppression, and now we're trying to bring this out to the public so other people can stand up and start speaking out. And that's what I'm starting to see, and that's where we got to really pay attention, because that's what's happening. It's happening really quickly right now. It's happening in a vast pace, and I think that these people that have oppressed us are going to be shocked very shortly, and people like you are going to be there to help everyone that has been oppressed in this. And I really appreciate what you've done.
Shocked is going to be an understatement. I think they legitimately are like completely oblivious to the fact that the silent majority of everyone who was, let me also just say this, there's a difference between fence sitters and middle ground people. Most people were middle ground. I'm middle ground. I have some tendencies that lean more conservative.
Me too.
But for the most part, I am about being a good person.
Yes.
And having some basic standard morals. Other than that, the politics, wishy-washy sides. I mean, shit. We voted for Obama before we found out real quick about that shit, and didn't make that mistake again. But it's like most people are sane, level-headed, just going about their days. But for the longest time, it's always been like, okay, yeah, let's ignore the loud people, let them peter out. And I was like, no, they're not petering out. They keep taking more and more ground.
Yes.
They keep forcing themselves into our homes, into our lives, into the legislation, into our entertainment, destroying everything. And it's like, no, we can't let them play with their toys anymore.
That's such an important point. It's we tend to, kind people that are level-headed, we tend to sit back, and we have sat back, and we're like, okay, we'll just be level-headed and go along with our day.
Let them speak. They'll let me speak. And
let them speak. They'll let me speak. Exactly. And what you said was, they're just getting louder, and we're just sitting there, and we're starting to raise our voice, and they just keep talking over us. It's time for us to talk over them in a way that they've never seen before. And they get really upset when you do that, don't they?
Oh yes. How dare you? How dare you not only point out their hypocrisy and the fact that they won't listen to you. They won't give you a place to speak. So unfortunately, we're going to have to take it. And you're going to take it because we cannot have this debauchery, debased, immoral, generally repulsive ideology just absolutely wreck every single aspect of our lives. we can't let it go on any further. Nice little experiment. That's cute. But yeah, no, that's not how real life works.
Right. Well, it's worked for them for too long, and it's not working anymore because people have finally hit their point where they're like, we've been put into a corner, right? The people that just want to get along and go along and just live our life. They
use our hearts and our patience and our they use our willingness to listen and to be like, okay, well, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I need to think about this differently. It's like, no. We've tried that.
They're manipulative, and they infiltrate every sector, and not only that, they manipulate, they lie, and they coerce, and they've done that for so long that's their normal culture. And these people, and now it's time we have to put a stop to these people, and it is disgusting.
It's repulsive. It's disgusting, and I mean, hell, I've said it from the beginning. It's like, I don't join movements. I don't do groups. I don't do people. But I met you guys, and I was like, you know what? Finally, I feel like I can be 100% myself. I can speak my mind on all topics. We can have polite discourse. We can even have tense discourse and still manage to, I don't know, act like a human being and adults and have a conversation to where we can disagree or disagree initially and then have a discussion and come to an understanding of, oh, okay, this is how you speak and this is how I speak, but we're still saying the same thing. We're still on the same page. These people have tried to strip away any sort of avenue for polite conversation, civilized conversation. They want nothing but, you must say how I want, what you want, or how I want, when I want, and only these approved topics. And they keep changing the goalpost on everything.
Yes.
And it goes back to publishing, and the reason why I'm like, you know what, I will go ahead and put myself out there, something that goes heavily against who I am as a person. That's like, well, I'm more than not the general populace. Most of us do not like posturing or being out there, being in front of people's faces.
Yeah.
But that's part of the problem, how we got here. And I'm like, well, if I can make a stand and be a safe haven for these people who, like I said, the publishing company is full of authors, publishing houses who are very much, I mean, I was just scrolling through Reels the other day, and there was one who was like, if you support this author, I'm unfollowing you and anyone else that you support. And I'm just like,
that's insane.
You're not even going to have a conversation. It is literally insane. You're not going to have a conversation. You're just going to be like, oh, and not only are you just going to like cancel the person for a belief, you're going to lie about what that person's belief was, and then proceed to cancel them. It's like, okay.
And then tell other people to do it. That's why a lot of times if that happens, I end up buying it. That's what they're doing is exactly what you're saying. And what's happening is, what they don't recognize is, yes, most of us that have kind of like sat back, we're not used to getting on camera. I mean, I'm trying to get used to this still. I'm like getting on camera and talking. It's just it's very foreign to me. And I'm like, I have to do it after Charlie Kirk. I mean, that did it for me. I'm like, I got to get up and say something. I don't care what happens. I got to get up and say something. But what I think is happening, and this is what I think is amazing, and this is what I'm seeing, is the people that actually do things, the people that make the country work, all those people that they don't realize are actually making things happen for them, that they don't appreciate, they don't understand these people, they don't appreciate, but these people are the very pillars that they're spitting on with their cancelish, like authoritarianism, and so the doers, people like you, people like us, and people in our audience, those people are starting to go, well, I guess it's time we do something, and that's going to be, they're going to be shocked.
Yeah, and it's what I get a chuckle because it's like for instance, to take myself for example, I grew up with you do the work. You want to learn something, you want to make something, you want to be somewhere, you do the work. there's a good chunk of us of society where they, like you said, we're doers. We're not going to just talk or posture. It's like, no, I will do it. You want me to do something? I'll do it.
Yes.
You don't piss us off, and you don't poke us to be like, okay, yeah, now we're going to do something, and you're not going to get in my way.
Yes.
You're not going to bully me. You're certainly not going to, sway me from this path. Because like we've tried that, we've tried that, and you guys keep getting more and more and more absurd, and just absolutely indefensible. And like there is no ground of, okay, yeah, you know what, we can give them that. And it's like, no, we've tried all of your ways, and to be honest, all of this was a distraction. Like they know this wasn't going to work. They know the things that they're pushing wasn't going to work. This was all a distraction to create, the division with everybody. And it's definitely worked, but it's gotten to the point where it's like, here and no further. Like here and no further yesterday. Like this needs to happen now. And I'm just glad that like met you guys. And it's like, okay, these are people that I want to surround myself with. These people have drive, they have ambition, they have actual skills, and they have a desire to learn and to improve, to self betterment.
And when you start, what you're saying is so important, because what's happening is as we meet people in this community, it's just like they're all starting to come out of the woodwork, and they're like, yeah. And you see them. There's so many people that have that same passion that we have, that actually are making the wheels spin of this country, and they're coming up to us and they're talking to us, and they're like, this is, and this movement is just, they don't have a clue at just how they have held down people. It's going to backlash in a way that they're not sure. So I think this is what I see as hopeful, is when I see people like yourself, your amazing art, your amazing passion, and what you've done with this book, Obsolete, which is an amazing work, and we haven't given enough time to this book. I want to quickly show just how cool, just but simplistic. Oh boy, that's not going to do it justice.
It's going to glare on it.
It's all glary, but this is a cool book, and everybody needs to get this book. This book is coming out soon. I'm not sure when it's going to be available. It's
available on Lulu right now.
It's available
on Lulu right now. Yeah.
Yeah, via Grim Rune.
Yeah, and I feel like this is such an amazing, it's kind of like a modern classic. So I wanted to take a moment and
you got to listen to me talk about it a lot.
Well, yeah, I have, but I've been involved in it, and I know what it's about, and I know the community. You've really honestly, you've kind of spurred a lot of this together with your book. So I think that I wanted to give my quick,
yes, that's how our podcast started way back when.
So what I'm saying is art, music, culture, talking, all these things that have been suppressed, that they don't want happening. That's what we need to do. We need to do it louder. We need to do it more. There needs to be more people doing podcasts like ours. There needs to be more people doing all these things, and we all need to get together and support each other. And I feel like that's where the turning point actually is, and that's what we can look forward to in the future.
Yeah, completely agreed. And that's also, again, another reason why I'm here right now on camera in front of everyone. Knows that I'm so not this person, but it's like,
but you're doing
if
great.
I can do it, anybody can do it. I will never ask anybody or never push forward with, let's be bold, let's be brash, let's take back our lives and not be able to be in front of the charge, essentially.
And I appreciate that so much in you, because I agree. Like that's, like Rob mentioned it and stuff with Turning Point and stuff. And I mean, it is coming up on the anniversary of Charlie Kirk's death. And I know that was something that literally was a turning point for me, because I always was just like, I'm cool, just keeping to myself. I don't need to say anything. I don't need to do anything. I don't want to speak up. I'm like, okay, they'll just do their thing and I'll do my thing. But that really like put that fire there. Like, why am I not saying anything if this is what is happening in our country? I need to stand up and say something. And I feel like where I'm going with this is like that it's something like with Lauren, with you, it's like what you just said. It's like we need to be able to speak instead of being afraid. I wouldn't say afraid, but or like just being like somebody else will do it. We have to be the ones to do it when we have that fire in us.
We've sat out so long.
Mm-hmm.
There's no one else doing it because we're all of us are sitting on the couch going, "Are we fucking seeing this?"
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt.
All of us are like, "Is someone gonna fucking do something about it?" And all of us are like, "I mean, shit. I'm not."
Yeah.
It's like, you know what? Okay, no, all of us need to get up and fucking do something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because if somebody
that's the only
doesn't
way
say
this is gonna
something.
happen.
Yeah, exactly. That's like if somebody doesn't say something, then nobody's going to know that anybody is thinking that. If somebody doesn't start by saying, you know what,
Exactly.
this is my thoughts, this is what I'm seeing, and then other people are like, you know what, I hear that. I was actually just thinking the same thing, but I didn't say it. And so it's cool to see all of it coming together in that respect.
Yeah, this is amazing, and we are coming up on time. So if there's any questions, Sera, from the crowd, I'd like to know.
Yes.
If not,
Let me see. We can chat for a little bit.
Yeah,
Just us, and we'll put it out there to them.
if anybody
There's
has
a little bit
any
of a delay,
questions for
so any
Rebecca,
questions?
please put them in chat. We know there's a little bit of a delay, but thank you very much for coming on, and thank you for being part of this and helping getting this started. I look forward to all the things that we're going to be doing in the future. I will outro this show with your cool poem again, if you don't care. Do you mind?
Oh, of course, absolutely. I would love that. That
Awesome.
video was so epic. I showed my parents, and they were like, "Oh, that's so badass." I'm like, "That's me."
Yes, it was awesome when Rob did the music to it and stuff. I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing!" And I was like, "She's gonna love it."
Well, yeah, it was fun, and I think that's what that was the collaboration process of just taking the words and what you were saying, and then I wrote some music to it, and we took your artwork as well. So that was her drawn art in it, and we animated that art with AI. So it was human art animated with AI, real music, real people, and it was just all put into a production. And I think that's what creativity is. When we take these things, we mix them together, we make something new, we try something new. And that's always fun. So I enjoy it. I appreciate you letting me do that.
It's kind of the evolution of humanity too. It's like we're always evolving and creating and moving into new things.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think we're coming up on time, so we'll probably end there. Any thoughts for us, Rebecca?
Oh yes, Rebecca. Where can they find you?
Yeah.
Online.
Where can they find you?
In a hole.
Hiding in a bunker,
She's
right?
just hiding in a hole.
Hiding in a bunker.
Yes.
On Facebook, I am Rebecca Heinish. Very simple. And on Instagram, I'm Grim Rune, GrimRuine. That's all that I'm not everywhere. I think I just got on X, but I am the most anti-social media millennial you'll find. So, but I'm getting better,
Anti-social media. That's awesome.
That is.
So, everybody, again, thank you for joining our show. We are Awaken the Underground. We've had some amazing guests tonight. Please share our content. Please like our content. Please help it get out there, because this helps everybody in the community. This helps other people find us. This helps other people find our great guests and what they're doing, and that's how we make a change. And I know that a lot of these algorithms try to suppress this stuff. We know that that's what's going on. Do it in real life. Do it in public. Beat the algorithm yourself, because you are a part of this, and we are going to win this culture war. So thank you very much, and we're going to see you next week.
Yes.
I stare up at the moon, basking in all of its light, as I prepare myself for quite an eventful night. It's been far too long since I've done a midnight run. Anticipation builds as I'm itching to have some fun. The animals have quieted, sensing a shift in the air, as a gentle wind grazes my skin and blows through my hair. The time is approaching. I feel a shift in my bones, my physiology changing along with my pheromones. Spine snapping back as the transformation is upon me. bones cracking and breaking my skin.
Skin lunging to be free.
Claws extend through my fingertips, dripping with my blood, as I slam forward on all fours onto the ground with growling as my skull lengthens into a set of monstrous claws. My body sprouted with fur, my hands finally turned to paws. I look about me now, seeing the forest
With predator's eyes.
content now that I've shredded and discarded my bipedal disguise. As I'm limbering up my form,
A pleasant smell
floats past my snout, and my ears perk up with the sounds of hikers
gloom.
about. My stomach lets out a rumble, and I can't stop myself from snarling.
Grinning as I lick my chops.
And think to myself how fortunate I'm
Starving.